The origins of the vampire legend stretch back thousands of years. In ancient Mesopotamia, clay tablets describe demonic spirits who preyed upon humans in the darkness. Among them was the Lamashtu, a female entity said to drink blood and attack infants in their sleep. The ancient Greeks feared creatures known as the Vrkolokos, restless dead who wandered villages after burial, bringing disease and death. In ancient China, legends spoke of the Jiangshi, corpses that moved unnaturally through the night, draining the life force of the living. These stories developed independently, separated by oceans, language, and culture, yet all share the same terrifying idea. Something dead returns hungry. By the Middle Ages, the fear became more than folklore. In eastern Romania and the Balkans, entire villages believed vampires were real. Sudden illness, wasting disease, or unexplained deaths were often blamed on the undead. Graves were opened, bodies were exhumed, and what terrified witnesses most was what they claimed to find: corpses that appeared fresh, bodies with blood around the mouth, hair and nails that seemed to have continued growing after death. To modern science, these phenomena are understood as natural stages of decomposition, but centuries ago, they look like proof. One of the most famous historical cases emerged in 1725. In the Serbian village Kiseljevo, villagers claimed a man named Petar Blagovic had died and then returned. According to local testimony, 9 people fell mysteriously ill after reporting nocturnal visits from the dead man. Each died shortly afterward. Officials reportedly exhumed the body. Witnesses described what they believed was a perfectly preserved corpse with fresh blood at the mouth. In fear, villagers drove a stake through the body. Accounts claim blood flowed from its ears and mouth as the corpse convulsed. The story spread across Europe like wildfire. Only a few years later, another case shook the Austrian Empire. A Serbian soldier named Arnold Pajol allegedly claimed he had once been attacked by a vampire. After his death, villagers blamed him for the mysterious illnesses and deaths in the village. Military physicians investigated. Their reports described bodies showing minimal decay weeks after burial. These incidents became so widespread that 18th century European governments launched official vampire investigations. Not village rumors, official government investigations. Doctors, priests, and military officers documented alleged cases in formal records. Newspapers published eyewitness testimonies. Fear spread from the remote villages into major cities. Even educated scholars debated whether vampires might truly exist. And then there was the man whose name became forever linked with blood. Vlad III, Dracula, the 15th century ruler of Wallachia, was infamous for unimaginable cruelty. Historical records describe forests of impaled enemies lining roads under his rule. His name, Dracula, came from the Order of the Dragon, but over time it became associated with darkness itself. Centuries later, author Bram Stoker used the name for his 1897 novel, Dracula, creating the modern vampire myth that dominates popular culture today. But even in the modern era, the stories never truly disappeared. Throughout the 19th and 20th centuries, reports of supposed vampires continued to emerge from rural communities around the world. New England experienced a wave of vampire panic during tuberculosis outbreaks. Families, desperate for answers, exhumed loved ones believed to be feeding on surviving relatives from beyond the grave. One famous case involved Mercy Brown of Rhode Island in 1892. After multiple family members died from tuberculosis, villagers believed Mercy was returning from the dead to drain the life of her sick brother. When her body was exhumed during winter, it appeared unusually preserved. To frighten locals, this was confirmation. Her heart was removed and burned in an attempt to stop the curse, but the brother died anyway. In modern times, belief in vampires still survive in isolated communities. In parts of Eastern Europe, South America, and even Africa, reports occasionally surface of villagers accusing the dead of returning to feed on the living. Anthropologists studying these traditions often find that vampire legends emerge during periods of disease, famine, or social fear, moments when humanity searches desperately for something to blame. There are stories from funeral workers who claim bodies move unexpectedly, and some corpses are heard making sounds after death. Witnesses describing unexplained figures appearing at windows shortly before death occurs. Most are likely explainable through psychology, folklore, coincidence, or misunderstood science. Sleep paralysis alone has produced terrifying encounters for countless people across history. They describe visions of dark entities pressing against the chest in the dead of night, nearly suffocating them. But the persistence of the vampire myth raises a chilling question. Why do nearly all cultures share some version of the same story? Perhaps vampires are nothing more than humanity's ancient attempt to explain disease and death. Or perhaps the legends survive because somewhere in history, someone truly saw something they could not explain. And maybe that is why the vampire continues to haunt us. Not because we believe in monsters, but because deep down we fear death may not always stay buried.